Well, I'm here with Will Griffin, and if it seemed like we're puffing a bit, it's because we had to walk up the hill, some challenging ground over here. Will, I've known Will for several years, and he's been a friend for quite a few years because he's quite a tolerant person. Will's quite a grounded sort of a guy. If some of you have been offended by some of my articles, you would have been a lot more offended if Will hadn't been involved, because he's been moderating them, and quite a few times he said, "Geez, Andre, you can't say that." So you know, he's altered some of my articles.
And you said it anyway.
Yeah, I said it anyway. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm just over here looking at a bit of mixed species. Will's been trying different things. So yeah, just wondering, Will, we're standing in a reseed here that was done this year.
Yeah, this year, yeah, in June. It actually, date-wise, thought we were taking a bit of a chance sowing it so late. I think it was the 5th of June it went in, and turned out it was probably the best of the reseeds we've done this year. Couldn't work out better moisture-wise and heat-wise, so it got a really good strike. Yeah, it's a challenging enough paddock here. You have a quite sloped terrain over there, which is always difficult enough, and then you've good level part, nutrient rich part down at the bottom. So grazing is a challenge, because you come in here and maybe 14 or 1500 down at the bottom and 500 or 600 on the banks, and they fleece the banks first and overgraze it and undergraze the bottom, and yeah, but it's turned out well. Yeah, so we've been experimenting with mixed species now since 2018. We put in a mix then of chicory, plantain, bird's foot trefoil and St. Fine, I think. It's good advice, was it, Andre, from the consultant back then? The bird's foot trefoil and the St. Fine?
I don't know, did I recommend that?
I think you did, yeah.
Did I? I thought we said let's see if it survives, and it didn't.
Definitely didn't survive. I think we got to the first grazing with it, and then there was very little left for the second grazing. But
a lot of these things are like that, aren't they? You know, you think, man, it looks so good when it first comes up, and it's all exciting, and
yeah, looks super.
It's a bit like a relationship when it first starts. You know, everything is all exciting and nice, but then the reality hits, and one grazing, and so many of these things are just not in an environment that is their natural environment, and they get grazed. Like St. Fine and bird's foot trefoil don't really survive grazing, do they?
No.
So you've altered, obviously, those things were not included anymore.
Yeah, so and the same with the chicory. Like it probably lasted 1 year mostly. Like there's some there the second year, but generally was gone after 1 year. And I know you probably have the benefit of the taproot coming into the second and the third year, but I decided not to go with it from then on. And we've experimented with
Oh, so you don't even use chicory anymore?
No, just plantain. Yeah, so we've experimented with kind of broadcasting. I listened to podcasts from New Zealand where they just mix it in with fertilizer and seemed to work, but didn't work here.
No, there was an interesting podcast actually from Rotorua, but see, in Rotorua it's challenging to grow ryegrass, you know, because it's not an environment that ryegrass really likes. So, you know, you're introducing, they just throw the plantain seed in with the fertilizer, and woo, it just takes over. But it doesn't have the competition from the ryegrass, because the ryegrass is not really in a suited environment to it.
Okay.
And that's the learning curves with mixed species, I suppose. It's finding the things and creating an environment that suits it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the plantain likes it here?
Likes it here, yeah. In our 2018 mix, which we just walked past on the way here, there's still some plantain on the slopey parts of the field, but
you can almost count them, but yeah.
But yeah, the plantain survives reasonably well.
Further up the hill you did there was more in that mix there, wasn't it?
No,
was there no chicory there?
No chicory there either. Yeah, so that didn't really work out well. We seeded that like in last year, so if in 23, so it went from really wet to really dry in about 7 days. And we got it in as early as we could after the wet period, and then it just got too dry, and it didn't come up for ages.
Well, the thistles did well.
Thistles did really well. Yeah, it was great. 23, great year for thistles.
So we just need to breed cows that eat thistles, and
yeah,
you know, we've got mixed species working pretty well.
And have an EBI still an X for it, Andre, for
yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, you've got, you know, at least what grows here gets a really nice view.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's not conducive to growth, obviously.
I don't think so.
No. So why pursue it? Like, have you found advantages from the plantain?
Why pursue it? Yeah, like I'm sold on the science, I suppose, like the deeper rooting and the urination frequency and the possible health benefits. Hard to measure those things, they're hard to see, and reducing nitrogen, of course. Why do I pursue it? I suppose a combination of curiosity and environmental responsibility, and maybe a bit of stubbornness now, and that you know, I want to make it work. And
plus altering it all the time, isn't it? You know, that you're making sure that what's going in has a chance of surviving, and providing some kind of benefit, you know, like, and I guess it's making sure that whatever you put in doesn't have a negative impact. So at least if you can add it in and it doesn't have a negative impact, you're not losing from it. You know, if you're still growing the tons of dry matter and getting the utilisation and the intakes in the cows.
Yes. Yeah. So I suppose in this case, like we'll take it as given that the ryegrass is going to strike and survive. So the worst case scenario is after a few years you have a field of what you would have had anyway.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've always said key, you know, for several years when I see people introducing a lot of grass varieties that maybe, you know, can lead to lower utilisation and intakes and lower digestibility, I cringe a bit, because, you know, I think when you're left with a sort of grass, if you lose when you lose your herbs, and if the clovers don't strike very well, you want to be left with a sort of grass that the cows are still going to do well on.
Yeah. And maybe we struggle with that a bit here. It's can be parts of the farm are quite challenging. So maybe, like, we done a lot of reseeding in 2016, 2017, and a lot of those, while they struck well and seemed to go well the first year or two, a lot of the original weed grasses kind of came back into the swards quite quickly after that. So I suppose we're probably not going to be chasing tons of dry matter, because we're never going to get to those figures anyway. So what I'm looking for is kind of persistency and digestibility and palatability.
Yeah, so that was Will and his version of mixed species. And it's interesting, isn't it? Everybody does mixed species for different reasons. He was one of my early adopters in Ireland, looking quite keen to try different things, and I guess that's what I love about so many of my clients in Ireland and the UK, that they're very willing to try different things. So yeah, he caught me on the hop a bit with that sane foin and bird's foot trefoil comment. But going back to it, yes, we were looking at trying to find different legumes that might work in a grazing situation. Clover alone can be a bit risky, you know, and I'm quite nervous about the bloat side of clover. As a share milker, when I was milking 300 cows myself, I lost 15 cows to bloat one morning, and it was a harrowing experience that I'm still quite nervous about. And as such, you want to avoid it and try different ways. So in a mixed species situation, when you add plantain into it, the plantain actually has properties that accentuate bloat, so they don't ease the bloat risk. And so trying to find different things that perhaps counteract that risk has been one of my goals as well. So yeah, look, as I'm going along, we'll be going to different farms using mixed species for different reasons and different environments, and looking a lot more at soil and different situations. But as for the next episode, that'll be something completely different again. So yeah, stay tuned. Next week there'll be something completely different.